My child. Stop for a moment. Do not rush past these words, because something has quietly shifted in the unseen places where your story has been written long before your eyes could recognize it. You did not arrive here by coincidence. Out of countless voices competing for your attention, this message found you for a reason. There is a movement taking place beyond what your natural senses can perceive, and if you listen carefully with your heart instead of your fears, you will begin to understand why today feels different from yesterday. I have been watching every silent prayer you whispered when no one else noticed. I have collected every tear you tried to hide behind your smile. I have heard every question you asked in the darkness when it seemed that heaven had gone quiet. I was never absent. I was preparing something your human understanding could not yet carry. There is someone connected to your destiny whose heart has been changing in ways they themselves cannot fully explain. They wake up with thoughts they cannot escape. They find themselves remembering moments they once dismissed. They replay conversations that seemed ordinary at the time but now echo with unexpected meaning. They have tried to distract themselves. They have tried convincing themselves that what they feel would eventually disappear. Yet the more they run, the louder the truth becomes. My child, this is not confusion. This is awakening. It began so quietly that even they failed to recognize it at first. But heaven often works in whispers before it moves in thunder. Pause here just a little longer, because what you are about to hear has been unfolding long before today arrived. While you believed nothing was happening, I was arranging moments you never noticed. Doors quietly closed for reasons you misunderstood. Conversations ended before they could lead you away from your purpose. Delays frustrated you because you saw only the waiting, while I saw the protection hidden inside every unanswered expectation. You asked me why certain people disappeared. You questioned why opportunities slipped through your hands. Yet if those things had remained, the beginning I am preparing now would never have found room to enter your life. Your soulmate has been standing at the edge of a decision without realizing that they were already stepping toward it. Something inside them no longer feels comfortable with the life they have been pretending to accept. The routines that once distracted them no longer satisfy their spirit. The people whose opinions once controlled them no longer carry the same weight. Even familiar places now seem strangely empty. They cannot explain why. They only know that their heart has begun searching for something real, something lasting, something peaceful. They do not yet realize that this search has been leading them closer to you with every passing day. Listen carefully, because this next part matters more than you know. There was a night recently when everything around them became unusually quiet. No celebration. No dramatic event. No extraordinary miracle visible to human eyes. Just silence. And within that silence, memories began rising one after another. Faces appeared in their thoughts. Words returned with unexpected clarity. Among those memories was the space your presence once occupied. It arrived without warning, and for the first time they did not push it away. Instead, they stayed with it. They allowed themselves to feel what they had spent so long avoiding. In that quiet moment, something inside them began to soften. Do not mistake slowness for absence. Heaven's timing often appears invisible until suddenly every scattered piece reveals the picture it was always creating. You have been measuring progress by what your eyes can confirm. I have been measuring progress by what is happening inside hearts. The greatest miracles rarely begin with public announcements. They begin with hidden transformations no one applauds because no one else can see them. That is exactly where your story is now. Something else has happened, though they have shared it with no one. They encountered a conversation that unexpectedly changed the direction of their thinking. The words spoken were not specifically about you, yet somehow everything they heard pointed back toward the questions they had been avoiding. They realized that running from truth never creates peace. Pretending feelings do not exist never removes them. Ignoring destiny only delays it. Those thoughts stayed with them long after the conversation ended. They smiled on the outside, but inside they knew something irreversible had begun. My beloved child, I know there were days when disappointment whispered louder than hope. There were mornings you wondered whether your prayers had reached me at all. There were nights when loneliness tried convincing you that your future had already passed you by. Yet every time discouragement tried to become your identity, I quietly preserved your purpose. What seemed like endless waiting was actually careful preparation. A seed buried beneath the soil appears forgotten until the day it suddenly breaks through the earth. No one celebrates the hidden season beneath the ground, yet without it there would never be life above it. The person connected to your future has begun questioning the walls they built around their own heart. Those walls once made them feel safe. Now they feel like a prison. They are discovering that protecting themselves from pain also prevented them from receiving genuine love. This realization did not happen overnight. It arrived piece by piece, through ordinary moments that carried extraordinary meaning. A familiar song. An unexpected memory. A stranger's words. A quiet drive home. A dream that lingered after sunrise. None of these moments seemed important alone, but together they formed a message they could no longer ignore. What surprises even heaven's angels is not that they are changing, but how deeply they are changing. Their priorities are shifting. Their conversations are becoming different. Their prayers are becoming more honest. They are asking questions they never had the courage to ask before. They are no longer praying only for comfort. They are praying for truth, even if the truth requires them to let go of what has become familiar. That prayer has opened a doorway no human hand could ever close. There is something I must reveal carefully because your heart is eager, and eagerness can sometimes rush ahead of wisdom. Do not assume that preparation means immediate arrival. Every sunrise follows the night, but even the sunrise waits for its appointed moment. Your soulmate is moving toward a new beginning, yet that beginning is being strengthened beneath the surface before it becomes visible. If it arrived too early, fear could still interrupt it. If it unfolded before healing finished its work, old wounds could still speak louder than new hope. That is why I have been patient. My patience is not delay. It is protection wearing the clothing of time. You have noticed small changes inside yourself too, though perhaps you have not recognized them. You react differently than you once did. Situations that would have broken you months ago no longer carry the same power. Your dependence on constant reassurance has quietly begun fading. You have learned to breathe through uncertainty instead of allowing uncertainty to define you. These are not random personal improvements. They are evidence that I have been preparing you for a relationship that requires a stronger version of the person you used to be. Something extraordinary is happening at the exact same time in both of your lives. Neither of you fully understands it. Neither of you sees the complete picture. Yet both of you are slowly being separated from old identities that no longer fit the future I have written. It is almost as though two rivers have been flowing independently for years, unaware that they are gradually moving toward the same ocean. Neither river knows exactly when the meeting will happen. Yet both continue moving because the destination has already been decided. There will soon come a moment that feels surprisingly ordinary on the outside. People around you may not even notice it. Yet in heaven it will be remembered as the moment everything truly began changing. Sometimes destiny does not arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a simple conversation, a familiar name unexpectedly appearing again, an invitation accepted without much thought, or a message sent after months of hesitation. Human eyes overlook these moments because they appear too ordinary. Heaven recognizes them because eternity has been waiting for them. Before that moment arrives, however, one final layer of fear must fall away from your soulmate's heart. They are closer than they realize. There is still one question echoing inside them, one uncertainty they have not completely surrendered. They wonder whether they deserve the future waiting ahead. They question whether healing has truly changed them enough. They wonder whether forgiveness is really possible after everything they believe they lost. These questions are not signs of failure. They are simply the final shadows before dawn. My child, do not spend your energy chasing answers I have not yet released. Your assignment is not to force what only heaven can establish. Your assignment is to remain available for what I am already preparing. Every impatient decision risks interrupting the peace I am carefully building. Every fearful assumption tries to rewrite a story I have already authored. Trust does not mean understanding every chapter before you reach it. Trust means continuing to walk even while the next page remains hidden. If only you could see what my angels have witnessed in recent days, your doubts would disappear instantly. They have watched invisible chains lose their strength. They have watched silent prayers finally receive permission to move. They have watched closed doors begin unlocking from the inside. They have watched hearts that once resisted surrender begin opening one quiet decision at a time. None of these victories have appeared on social media. None have been announced before crowds. Yet every one of them has brought your future one step closer than yesterday. Still, there is one detail I have intentionally withheld until now because your heart needed to be ready before hearing it. The new beginning being prepared is not only about reunion or affection. It is about purpose. The connection I am restoring carries a reason greater than either of you currently understands. It is designed to awaken something inside both of you that neither could accomplish alone. This is why the preparation has taken longer than expected. I was never building only a relationship. I was building two transformed lives capable of carrying what comes after the beginning. And now, my beloved child, the moment approaches where the hidden story begins revealing itself. Your soulmate is standing closer to an unexpected decision than anyone around them realizes. They believe they are about to make one choice, but heaven has already arranged another. Within the coming moments of this story, something will happen that neither of you planned, something so quietly significant that most people would overlook it completely. Yet it will become the first unmistakable sign that the new beginning has truly started. What they are about to discover, and who unexpectedly becomes part of that discovery, will change everything. There is a reason I ended where I did, my beloved child, because the next part of this story could only be understood after your heart was prepared to receive it. What is about to unfold is not the kind of moment people imagine when they think of miracles. It will not begin with loud celebrations or dramatic signs falling from the sky. Instead, it will begin with something so simple that almost everyone around your soulmate will overlook it. But heaven will not overlook it, because I have been waiting for this exact moment since long before either of you understood where your lives were leading. Your soulmate has reached a place where pretending has become more exhausting than telling the truth. They have carried emotions they could not explain, hidden questions they were afraid to ask, and silent hopes they convinced themselves would eventually disappear. Yet instead of fading, those feelings have grown stronger with every passing season. They have discovered that the heart can only ignore destiny for so long before destiny begins knocking louder than fear. Recently, something unexpected interrupted their ordinary routine. It was not an accident. It was not luck. It was one of the many unseen appointments I arranged before either of you took your first breath. A familiar thought entered their mind at the exact moment they were least expecting it. It did not feel forced. It arrived gently, yet it refused to leave. They tried focusing on other things, but every distraction eventually circled back to the same quiet realization. They found themselves wondering how life might have looked if different choices had been made. Then another thought followed immediately behind it, a thought carrying your presence. At first they resisted it. They reminded themselves of every reason they once believed the chapter had already ended. They repeated old conclusions they had accepted months or even years ago. But something had changed. Those old explanations no longer sounded convincing. The walls they built from disappointment began developing small cracks, and through those cracks, hope quietly entered without asking permission. Meanwhile, I have been doing something inside your own heart that you may not have fully recognized. I have been teaching you how to wait without becoming bitter. I have been teaching you how to remain kind without becoming weak. I have been teaching you that true peace is not found in controlling tomorrow but in trusting the one who already stands inside tomorrow. These lessons were never punishment. They were preparation. Had this new beginning arrived before your spirit matured, you might have mistaken fear for wisdom and walked away from the very blessing you had prayed to receive. Listen carefully now, because this next revelation explains why everything has felt unusually quiet. Silence often makes people believe nothing is happening, yet silence is where some of my greatest works are completed. Seeds grow silently beneath the soil. Dawn arrives quietly before birds begin singing. Healing happens quietly before strength returns. In the same way, your soulmate has been changing in silence. Conversations that once entertained them now leave them empty. Dreams they once chased no longer satisfy them. They have begun searching for something they cannot describe, and every search has brought them closer to the truth they once avoided. There have been nights when they looked toward the ceiling, unable to sleep, asking questions they never spoke aloud during the day. Why can't I move on? Why does this feeling keep returning? Why does peace seem connected to someone I thought I had already left behind? They expected silence. Instead, they received gentle reminders woven into ordinary moments. A familiar place. A meaningful phrase. A memory appearing without warning. Each reminder carried only one purpose: to awaken what fear had kept asleep. Do not misunderstand these moments as emotional coincidence. Heaven rarely wastes ordinary details. What seems random to human understanding often becomes the very language through which I guide my children. The heart notices what the eyes ignore. That is why your soulmate has started paying attention to things they once dismissed. They sense that something larger than themselves is unfolding, even though they cannot yet explain it. My child, there is another truth I must reveal. The new beginning being prepared is not simply changing your soulmate. It is also changing the people surrounding them. Individuals whose opinions once controlled every decision are slowly losing their influence. Voices that once filled them with doubt no longer carry the same authority. Situations that appeared impossible only weeks ago are quietly rearranging themselves. You may never witness these changes directly, yet they are happening even now as these words reach your heart. Some of those changes have not been easy. Certain relationships have become uncomfortable because honesty has entered places where pretending once lived. There are conversations your soulmate has delayed for far too long. There are decisions they have postponed because they feared disappointing others. Yet every day they delay becomes more difficult than the day before. The truth has become impossible to silence. I know you have wondered why I did not simply remove every obstacle at once. The answer is because lasting transformation cannot be rushed. If I remove every challenge without changing the heart, the same patterns eventually return. But when the heart is transformed first, even difficult circumstances begin producing unexpected peace. I have been interested in changing far more than your circumstances. I have been changing your character, your faith, your patience, and your understanding of love itself. Love that survives only perfect conditions is not the love I have prepared for you. The love I am building is rooted in grace rather than pride. It listens before reacting. It forgives before resentment grows. It chooses honesty instead of assumption. It remains steady even when emotions rise and fall like waves upon the sea. That is the kind of beginning heaven protects because it reflects my own heart. There is something your soulmate has not admitted even to themselves. They have started imagining a future they once refused to consider. They catch themselves wondering what rebuilding would look like. They imagine conversations that have not yet happened. They think about words they wish they had spoken differently. They picture themselves standing before someone they never truly forgot, hoping another opportunity might still exist. Every time those thoughts appear, they quickly try pushing them away. Yet they always return stronger than before. Can you feel how close this story has become to its turning point? Every unseen piece is moving toward the place where it belongs. Every delay has carried hidden purpose. Every unanswered prayer has quietly gathered momentum until the appointed moment could finally arrive. But there is still one final lesson both of you must learn before the beginning becomes visible. It is the lesson of surrender. Your soulmate is standing before a decision that will require them to release the version of themselves built upon fear. They cannot carry both their old identity and the future I have prepared. One must be left behind. That choice is drawing nearer with every sunrise. They sense it. Though they cannot fully explain why, they know life cannot continue exactly as it has been. At the same time, I am asking you to release something as well. Release the need to know every detail before trusting me. Release the disappointment that still whispers through old memories. Release the belief that delays always mean denial. When both hearts choose surrender, heaven gains permission to reveal what has been hidden. And now I will tell you something that has not yet happened, but it is already moving toward you. Very soon, your soulmate will encounter a moment that seems completely ordinary. Someone will say something they were never expecting to hear. It will not sound dramatic to anyone else in the room. Yet those few words will unlock a realization they have been resisting for far too long. In an instant, scattered memories will connect. Questions that remained unanswered will suddenly make sense. They will recognize that what they believed was the end was actually preparation for a beginning they never imagined possible. When that realization arrives, they will no longer be able to remain where they are emotionally. Something inside them will insist that another step must be taken. A conversation must happen. A truth must finally be spoken. A door they assumed was permanently closed must at least be approached once more. But there is one unexpected person standing between that realization, and the first move your soulmate is about to make. That person does not yet realize the role they are about to play. And when they speak, everything will change.